Hello everyone, my name is Yorli from Codecademy, and today we'll be going through the Adopt a Pet project, which is a part of the React Router V6 course. In this project, we'll practice adding React Router to a project, creating a React Router, using Router Provider, creating JSX routes, defining and using URL and query parameters, and redirecting users. As you can see, this application will allow users to see a list of adoptable pets which can be filtered by type, denoted by the URL path. They'll also be able to see individual pet details and search for pets by name. All of this will be done using our knowledge of the React Router library. Before we get started, let's download the project starter code, which you can find at the bottom of the project objective narrative by clicking the download button. Once downloaded, let's find it in our downloads folder and extract the content somewhere that is easily accessible. I'll be extracting it to my documents folder. Then we'll open up this folder in our text editor. I'll be using VS Code. Finally, let's download all the project dependencies by using npm. So let's open the terminal in this directory and type npm install. This may take a minute or so to finish, so we'll come back when it's done. After npm is done installing everything, let's run npm start to make sure everything was installed properly. In the browser, you'll see a bare bones application right now, which will improve as we complete tasks. After completing these steps, we're all set to get started. Before we get started adding routing to the application, we'll need to install it as a dependency in our project. If we go to our package.json file, you'll notice a list of packages our project depends on. We'll need to add React Router here. Let's open our terminal and press Ctrl+C to stop our local deployment. Once it's stopped, let's type npm install react router dom @6 -- save and press enter to run the command. Let's go ahead and wait for it to finish installing, which could take a couple of seconds. Once complete, if we look back at the package.json file, you'll see a new entry with React Router DOM and the version we installed. Let's go back to our terminal and type npm start so we can verify our local deployment is still working. Once complete, we can check back in the browser and still see the replace me text. Great job installing the React Router DOM package into our project. Now that we have the React Router DOM package, we can add it to our project by using the Router Provider component. Let's navigate to app.js, and above the app function, let's import Router Provider from React Router DOM. Next, you'll notice a constant called AppRouter. This constant will be used to initialize our React Router object. If we look further down in the return statement, you'll notice a p tag with the text replace me. Let's replace this p tag with the Router Provider component we imported. We should initialize the router prop to the AppRouter constant defined for us. Let's also not forget to save our work as we go along. If we go back to our browser, we'll notice nothing on the screen because AppRouter has not been initialized properly yet. To complete our initial setup, we'll also want to import create browser router, create routes from elements, and route from React Router DOM. We'll be using create browser router and create routes from elements to initialize our React Router. And we'll be using route to create our application routes in the next set of tasks. Let's go ahead and save our work, and with that we've completed our initial setup. Good job everybody. We can now begin working on adding our first route. In this application, we'll have content that should always be displayed like our navigation bar. To accomplish this, we'll be using nested routing. We have a route component imported for us that contains our navigation component. Let's go to the app router constant and replace the replace me string with a route component. This route component should have the path set to a /, also known as the route path, and the element should be the root component. Let's save our work, and if we go to our browser, we still won't see anything because App Router is still not properly set up yet. We've created our first route, but note a router only accepts route objects and not JSX elements. Let's use create routes from elements so we can transform the JSX route elements into route objects. Let's wrap our route component with create routes from elements. Let's go ahead and save our work, but note that App Router is still not quite set up properly yet. So if you go to your browser, you still won't see anything. Now let's finally complete the last step to properly initialize App Router using create browser router. Wrap the create routes from elements function with create browser router and set App Router equal to it. Let's save the file, and after recompiling, we can navigate back to the browser and we should see our navigation bar. Note that the navigation bar is rendering, but doesn't quite work as expected yet. Great job successfully adding our first route to the application. Now that we've set up our root route, you may have noticed that the main part of the page is still blank right now. Ideally, we'd like the home page to render at the root route and within this blank spot. We can accomplish this using an index route. Back in app.js, let's navigate to where we defined our root route. Within the opening and closing tags, let's define a new nested route. This route should not use the path prop and instead use the index prop. And the element prop should be the home page component. We can save our work, but note that because we haven't hooked up an outlet in the root component, nothing changes in the browser right now. Let's now go ahead and tell the root route where it should render child root elements using the outlet component. Let's go to src/components/root/index.js, and at the top of the file, let's import outlet from React Router DOM. Let's navigate down to the return statement and add the outlet component under the navigation component. We can now save this file and go back to our browser. We should see the app navigation and the home page content together at the root route. Great job adding nested routing to the application. Right now, if we inspect our application, we'll notice that we're displaying all types of pets in the home page. Our application should also allow us to filter pets by the pet types using the navigation links. For example, if we click on dogs, the path changes to /dog and only dogs will appear. Or if we click on cats, the path changes to /cats and only cats will appear. Note that we're getting 404s right now because we haven't set up routes to these paths yet. Let's add this functionality by creating a new nested route under the root route that renders on a dynamic path. Back in app.js, within the root route, let's add a new nested route. This route will have a path prop that's set to the value :type, where type is the name of the path URL parameter we'll be using. The element prop should be set to the homepage component as it also contains all the filtering logic. Let's go ahead and save the file and head back to the browser. If we try clicking on the dogs navigation link, you'll notice that we no longer get a 404 error, but it looks like the pet data is still not being filtered. Let's fix this in the next task. Let's navigate to the homepage component by going to /src/pages/home/index.js. In the component, you'll notice a type variable defined for us. We should set this variable equal to the URL parameter value. To do this, above the home component function, let's import the useParams hook so we can retrieve this URL value. After importing, we can set type equal to the value returned from the useParams function. Note that this returns an object and we'll use the structuring syntax to retrieve the type value. Let's save this file and head back to our browser. Back in our browser, If we click on the dogs navigation link, you'll notice that we're only seeing dogs rendered. Also, if you click on the cats navigation link, you'll notice that the path changes to /cats and only cats are being rendered. Great work adding filtering to our application. Let's work on displaying individual pet details now. If we go back to our browser and click on an animal card like Gia or Shuri, we'll notice our URL changes to something like /pettype/someid. Right now, this path is not set up, so we're getting a 404 error. Let's fix this by adding a new route under the root route. Back in app.js, let's add a new nested route under the root route. The path prop should have two URL parameters named type and ID. The element prop should be set to the pet details page component. Let's save this file and head back to the browser. If we click on Shuri, we should see Shuri's pet details show up now. But there's an issue right now. If we go back and click on Gia, or any other animal besides Shuri, you'll notice that we're still only showing Shuri's details. Let's fix that next. Let's take a closer look at the pet details page by navigating to src/pages/detail/index.js. If we look at the pet details page function, near the top, we'll notice an ID constant that's been defined for us with a hard-coded ID string. This hard-coded ID string corresponds to Shuri's ID, which is why we're only seeing Shuri's pet details. Let's fix this by using the ID in the URL using the useParams hook. Above the function, let's import useParams from React Router DOM. After importing, let's set the value of ID equal to the value returned by useParams. Remember that we'll need to wrap this ID constant with curly braces as we want to use destructuring syntax to get the ID from the object returned from the useParams hook. We can now save the file and head back to the browser. Back in the browser, if we click on Gia, we should see Gia's details show up and not Shuri's. Note that if you click on pets without pictures, for example, they have the teddy bear picture, they will not have pet details show up. We'll come up with another solution for this scenario later. Great job incorporating dynamic URLs into our router. We've done great work with React Router so far, but you may have noticed that every link we click on causes a browser refresh. For example, if we go back to our browser and click on the dogs navigation link, you'll notice a small browser refresh and the dog only pets rendered. This browser refreshing isn't pleasant for our users right now, so let's fix that by replacing the anchor tags they are using with link and navlink components. In the editor, let's navigate to src/components/navigation/index.js, and in the navigation function, you'll notice some anchor tags being used. Let's replace these with navlink components from React Router DOM by importing them above the navigation function. After importing, let's replace all the anchor tags with the navlink component. We'll also need to replace the href attributes with the toProp because navlink does not have an href property. Let's save this file and navigate back to the browser. In the browser, we can now click on any navigation link and you'll notice the browser no longer refreshes. Right now, our navigation links are working well, but it would be nice to add a visual indication of what navlink we're currently on and is active. If we go back to our code editor and navigate to the public/index.css file, we'll notice some CSS class names defined for us. One of them is the nav-link style, which will apply to every navlink, and the other one is the nav-link-active style, which will apply a special background to the active navlink. Let's navigate back to src/components/navigation/index.js and apply this styling to the active navlink by passing a function to the class name prop. In all the nav links, we'll modify the class name prop and set it equal to a function. This function will have a parameter called isActive that we'll define using the structuring syntax. This value will automatically get passed in by React Router DOM to the navlink component. This function should return a string that contains nav-link always, and will also include nav-link-active in that string if the nav-link is currently active. We'll do this using a template string with nav-link and a template that checks to see if isActive is true, and if so, we'll set the template value to nav-link-active, or else it will just set it to the empty string. We'll copy and paste this class name prop to every nav link in this navigation function. Let's go ahead and save this file and head back to our browser. Back in our browser, you should already notice the all pets link is styled differently than the other links. This is because the current path matches this nav link's to prop. Let's click on another navigation link and notice the styling change for that link as well. We're almost done getting rid of all the anchor tags left in the application. If we go back to our browser and try to click on a pet like Shuri to see their pet details, you'll notice that this still causes a short browser refresh. Let's fix this using the link component. Back in our browser, let's navigate to src/pages/home/index.js. Notice the anchor tag used in the map function. Let's replace this with the link component. First, let's import link from React Router DOM above the homepage function. Next, let's navigate to the anchor tag and replace the opening and closing anchor tag with the link component. Remember that the link component doesn't have an href prop, so we need to replace it with the to prop. We can now save this file and head back to our browser. If we click on a pet like Shuri, you'll notice we no longer have that quick browser refresh happening thanks to the link component. Great job replacing the anchor tags in our application. Back in our browser, our pet adoption website is coming together nicely. Let's make it even easier for our users to find the pets they're looking for by adding a search feature. Right now, if we go back to our browser, in the top right corner, you'll notice an input box with a magnifying glass on the right. Ideally, we want our users to enter some characters here, and any pet that contains those characters in their name should be filtered and rendered. To do this, we'll use query parameters. When a user clicks on the magnifying glass, they will be redirected to the path /search followed by a query parameter called name containing the characters they typed in. Let's head back to our code editor and get started building this feature. Navigate to src/components/search/index.js, and at the top of the function, import the useNavigate hook. Once that's imported, let's find the navigate constant defined for us and set this constant equal to the value returned from calling the useNavigate hook. Let's go ahead and save our file here. In this component, you'll find a function called onSearchHandler. This function contains a constant called searchQuery that has been created for us. This constant is an object where we store a property called name with the value set to whatever the user typed in the input box. For example, if the user typed Shuri, we'll use this object to create a query parameter in the form name equals Shuri we can add to the URL. Let's start by importing create search params from React Router DOM. Next, we'll use the constant query defined for us and set this equal to the returned value from calling create search params with search query as an argument. Let's go ahead and save our file here. Now that we have our query string, let's use it with the navigate function to imperatively redirect our users to the /search path with a query parameter called name with the value that was typed in the search input box. Below query, let's call navigate and pass in an object as an argument. This object should have two properties, path name and search. Path name will have a string value of where to redirect to. We'll set this to /search. Search will have a string with the query parameters. We'll do this using a template string to add the leading question mark followed by the query constant. Let's go ahead and save our file and head back to our browser now. In our browser, if we type Shuri in the input box and press the magnifying glass, you'll notice that our path changes to /search name equals Shuri, but nothing is filtered yet because we haven't hooked this up yet. Let's do this next. Right now, we're redirecting users to a path that starts with /search, but we don't yet have a route for this. Let's create one. Let's go back to src/app.js, and in the app router, let's add a nested route under the root route that renders on the path /search and renders the search page element. Let's save this file and go back to our browser so we can test this new route. Back in our browser, let's type the name Shuri again in the search box and hit the magnifying glass. Notice the path changes to /search name equals Shuri, but our page still doesn't seem to be rendering properly because we see a replace me text and a no pets being found text. Let's fix this next. Back in our code editor, let's navigate to src/pages/search/index.js. We'll need to capture the value of the name query parameter in this component in order to filter the pet data with it. We'll do this using the useSearchParams hook from React Router DOM, so let's import it now. After importing, let's save our work here. Next, let's get the query parameters from the useSearchParam hook. Near the top of the search page function, let's define a constant called searchparams. We'll wrap it in square brackets because useSearchParams returns an array and we'll need to use destructuring syntax here. Set this constant equal to the return value of calling useSearchParams. Let's save the file now. Finally, we can use searchparams get method to get the value of the name query parameter from the URL. Notice that we have a constant called pet name defined for us, and we'll want to set it equal to the name query parameter value. We can do this by calling searchparams.get and passing in the string name as an argument. We'll set this equal to pet name defined. We can now save our file and head back to our browser. Let's type Shuri into the search box and press the magnifying glass. You'll notice that the URL path changes, as well as the Shuri card filtered and is displayed for us. Great job adding a search feature to our website. We're almost ready to release our pet adoption application out to users, but before, let's handle the case where a pet doesn't have any details available. Right now, the pets with the white teddy bear pictures don't have any further pet details. If we click on one of these cards, the URL changes, but nothing is rendered to the screen. Let's improve this behavior by directing users to a custom page when this happens. So, back in our editor, let's navigate to app.js and add a new nested route under the root route. This route will render on the path pet-details-not-found and will render the pet details not found element. Let's save this file and head back to our browser. If we now directly navigate to /pet-details-not-found, we'll be able to see what this page looks like. We've set a route up for the pet details not found path. Now let's add some logic to redirect to this path when pet details are not found. Let's navigate to src/pages/detail/index.js, which is the component rendered when a pet card is clicked to see their pet details. In this file, you'll notice we're making an API call using the useEffect hook. This API call will fail if details for this pet were not found and will throw an error. We then catch this error and set the error state variable to true. We'll be using this variable to control when to redirect users so they don't see the empty screen. Let's start by importing the navigate component from React Router DOM and saving our work here. Once imported, let's use the navigate component to imperatively redirect users. In the return statement of this component, navigate to the condition when error is true. In this condition, within the div, let's return the navigate component. The navigate component should have the toProp set to the /pet-details-not-found path. Let's save this file and head back to our browser. Back in our browser, let's click on a pet with a teddy bear picture like Dottie. We should notice that after clicking on Dottie, we'll be redirected to the pet details not found path, and we see the not found page. We're just about done here, but one thing you'll notice is that the pet details not found page has a button that is meant to redirect us back to the root path. Right now, this button is not hooked up, so let's work on that now. Back in our editor, let's first navigate to src/pages/details-not-found/index.js. In order to perform this redirect, we'll need to import the useNavigate hook above the component function. Now, in the pet details not found function, you'll notice a navigate constant defined for us. Let's replace this constant value with the result from calling the useNavigate hook. If we navigate to the Go Home button, you'll notice a function called Go Home is called when the button is clicked. Let's go to this function and implement our redirection logic here. Inside Go Home, let's call the navigate function and pass in the string with just a /, also known as the root path. We can now save our file and go back to our browser. Back in our browser, if we click on the Go Home button, we'll be redirected to the root path. Great job adding a convenient way for users to navigate back home when a pet details are not found. Great job adding React Router to the pet adoption application. In this project, we practice a lot of the core React Router concepts, like creating a router, defining routes, the link and navlink components, and redirection. You can learn about and explore more React Router features by looking at their official documentation. I hope you had fun going through this video tutorial with me. Happy coding!